Dear students, welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to learn about the virtual memory management. In case of a virtual memory management, we are going to see these are the different topics. We'll learn about what is the background, then demand paging, process creation, page replacement, allocation of frames, and thrashing. In the earlier section, we learned about the memory management. In that memory management, we learned about the different strategies that are used for the managing the memory, and we learned about the swapping and contiguous memory allocation, and what are the problems with the contiguous memory allocation, and how those problems are solved using a technique called as a paging. So paging gives a solution for the non-contiguous memory allocation. Then we looked into structure of the page tables, how the page tables are structured, and we also learned about the segmentation. In this section, we will learn about the virtual memory. The virtual memory gives lot of benefits over the regular strategies that are used for the memory management. Okay, so for we have discussed various memory management strategies. The main goal of all these strategies is to keep as many processes as possible onto the memory. Okay, the reason for being that is like if we have more processes on the memory, then the CPU utilization will increase, and that is the whole basis, that is the whole fundamental of multi-programming. So every strategy that is used in the memory management, it optimizes the number of processes that are to be kept on the memory. So this requires the entire process to be in memory before it can be executed. So whenever we want to execute certain process, the complete program has to be loaded onto the memory in order for it to be executed. The virtual memory technique solves this problem. So every time we need not, even though like a certain we have a big program, but all the program will not be required. Every piece of instruction is not required every time. So there could be some part of the program which gets executed rarely, but in the earlier management strategy, we have to have the complete code to be loaded onto the memory in order for it to be executed. Virtual memory technique solves these problems. We need not have the entire process in the memory in order for it to be executed. And one more, the biggest advantage is that the programs can be larger than the physical memory. The earlier restriction was when we are loading the process can be process or the program can be as big as the physical memory. So the restriction for the programs is that it is bound by the physical memory. So the programmer has to be well aware of what kind of a physical memory is that, so that the program that is being created has to be less than or equal to that physical memory. But the virtual memory eliminates that drawback. Now we can have programs that are larger than the physical memory. Virtual memory, it abstracts the main memory into an extremely large and uniform array of storage, and it also separates the logical memory as used by the user from the physical memory. Okay, it is required to have the complete program. So we know that we need to have the complete program onto the physical memory in order for the program to be executed. This also limits the size of the program to be of the physical memory. Like whatever the program you are writing, it is limited to the size of the physical memory. In many of the instances, a certain part of the program is rarely used. For example, a certain piece of a code is there. Let's say it handles some unusual error condition. That particular piece of code, when we say unusual error condition, we have a piece of a code handling unusual error condition, but the unusual error condition itself is very rare, and we have code for handling that, but that particular code is required rarely. We do not need every time. So if we want to execute this process, we have to load that particular part also, right? So that causes unnecessary wastage of the memory. That particular piece of code will not get executed, or it will get executed rarely. Such kind of a code will also be has to be loaded onto the memory. That causes a problem for the memory. And also the other examples are like we declare so many arrays and lists and tables. For example, array, when we have the array declaration, memory is allocated. Let's say we have a array of 100 into 100 size. Even though that array is not completely utilized, but still we have to have a memory allocation for 10 into 100 into 100. So that particular it will consume the memory space. Even if we need the entire program, let's say even if we say we need the entire program, we will not require it all the time, right? So the certain part of the program is required at the certain other time. Everything is not required at the same time. So virtual memory, as we know, it separates the logical memory as perceived by the users from the physical memory. This separation allows an extremely large virtual machine to be provided for the programmer. Since we have this separation of the logical and the physical memories, this gives a advantage wherein we can give a large space for the virtual memory for the programmers. Virtual memory makes the task of a programmer as he or she need not worry about the size of the physical address or physical memory, right? Because there is a separation, and virtual memory allows us to have a larger memory space than the physical address. Programmer need not worry about what is the size of the physical address, or the programmer is not bound by the size of the physical address. So here so far what we discussed is like a virtual memory, separation of a user logical memory from the physical memory. Only part of the program needs to be in the memory for execution, that we already looked into. Logical address space can be therefore be much larger than the physical address space, allows address spaces to be shared by several processes. So this is the one more advantage that we get from the virtual memory. The certain address spaces, it can be shared among the several processes. We will look into this in the later slides. And also the process creation is efficient. So the when the process creation happens, because of we allow the pages to be shared, this process creation becomes very efficient. And the virtual memory can be implemented using these two techniques, demand paging and demand segmentation. Okay, so this is the how the virtual memory is implemented. You can see here, this is the virtual memory, and this is the memory map. This mapping, this virtual memory has been mapped to the physical memory. So you can see we can have a larger memory, and it is mapped to this particular physical memory. Okay. Virtual address space. So virtual address space of a process refers to the logical or virtual view of how a process is stored in a memory. So it gives us a view, we can say it is a logical or the virtual view how a process is stored inside a memory. If you can see here, this is how it is stored inside the, how the process is stored inside the memory. This is the address starts from 0 and this is the max value. We have code, the data segment, then we have the heap, and this heap grows upwards and the stack grows downwards, and the heap is used for the dynamic memory allocation, and in between you see a blank space, or a, we call it as a hole, blank space, or a we call it as a hole. So this hole in between the stack and the heap, this is part of the virtual address. So this part of the virtual address, and this is not been allocated with the physical address. Whenever the heap or the stack starts growing, this will be allocated with a physical memory. The virtual address space that has such holes are known as a sparse address spaces. Okay, shared library using the virtual memory. So in addition to separating the logical and physical memory, virtual memory allows files and memory to be shared by two or more processes through page sharing. So using virtual memory, we can also, one advantage it gives a separation of a logical and the physical memory, and it also allows the files and memories to be shared among the many processes. The system libraries can be shared by several processes, okay, through mapping of the shared object into virtual address space. Okay, you can see here this particular, this is a one process. In the previous slide you looked into the virtual address space of a process. Now this is the virtual address space of one process. This is the virtual address space of the another process. Now they are sharing the library. So this particular number of pages, this will reside on the physical memory, and this page is shared by the many processes. So this will be part of the, so there these pages will be linked in the virtual address space. Libraries reside in the physical memory and are shared by all the processes. Similarly, similar to this is the library sharing. Similar to this, virtual memory enables a process to share memory. Okay, so we can share the memory also. If you recall, in inter process communication, IPC, processes they communicate through the use of a shared memory, and virtual memory allows one process to create a region of memory that it can share with the another process, and the process sharing this region consider it as a part of their virtual address space. Yet the actual physical pages of memory are shared, and virtual memory allows pages to be shared during the process creation, and virtual memory it allows the pages can be shared during the process creation, okay, with the system calls such as fork. Thus it speeds up the process of process creation. So it speeds up process creation. That is how virtual memory allows the very efficient way of process creation.